Knoxville. This is Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty, your host of Real Estate with Ryan, and my lovely co-host, April Coleman.
How's it going?
Hope everybody's doing well today. We've got a great topic that we're going to talk about, why pricing your home is so important in today's market, and maybe the difference between selling and not selling.
Right.
So we're going to get into that topic today. Hope everybody's doing well, as I said. Let's jump right into the topic, April. Pricing your home in today's market. How important it is, and even though with the market is being as good as it is, there's still some homes not selling. There's still some on the market. Believe it or not, I pulled some stats today. In 2017, single family alone is 3,926 homes have not sold.
Sold.
Would you believe that?
Off the market.
Did not sell the first time around with the first agent.
That's amazing.
So it's kind of shocking, and that's why we talk about pricing is everything. You know, guys, numbers are important. Whether it's gas, retail, anything, it's always about the numbers, right? Mm-hmm. So whether you're selling in this market or purchasing, numbers play a big key in your purchase decision and also selling. We always tell our sellers how important it is to pricing their home, and the two most important factors whether you're selling are only two things. It's motivation and price. Mm-hmm. Why are we doing what we're doing, and what is the price? So we're going to talk about pricing today and how that affects you in your market, how it will help you prepare your home if you're thinking of putting your home on the market here in the beginning part of the year or presently here in the fall. So I think one of the things that we talk about is buyers are going to always determine value by a couple of ways. But first is comparison shopping. Buyers like certain areas. Buyers are kind of a creature of habit. They're going to, certain areas, certain subdivisions that make sense to them, whether it's school districts that are important to the kids, whether it's communities with HOAs, community feel with golf course, amenities that neighborhood brings. That is what is important, and buyers are shopping in that particular area. So they're going to do their homework. They're going to look on Zillow. They're going to look on Realtor.com. They're going to look at all the search sites to see what things are going.
Internet searching.
Internet searching
is number one, right?
I think 80 or 90% of buyers are at least starting their search online.
Yes, so they are comparing everything.
It's always about comparison, and that's why it's so important to coming out with your home on the market with the right marketing plan, the right agent, and the right price. So if we know buyers are going to be comparison shopping, they're going to compare condition, upgrades, lot, locations, square footage. So they're going to determine the value by comparison shopping. So some of those things that we need to understand as a seller, what's important to a seller is understanding that we have to have the mindset of a buyer. Buyers are not engaged in what they owe on the property or how long they've lived there. See, I think it's very simple. In real estate, it's, a buyer wants to get the best deal. A seller wants to get the most money. Very simple, right? Real estate is always about a meeting of the minds, bringing a buyer and a seller together. That's our job. We do that consistently. And I think that, regarding that, it's always important that we educate our clients on the front end, knowing exactly that your best activity on the market could be within the first couple of weeks. NAR is going to say within the first couple of weeks or first 2 months on the market, the best traction, the best activity is done. Yeah. The challenge of overpricing and the challenge of maybe listing the property at a higher price and coming down using that strategy could mean the difference between for selling and being one of the 3,200 that expired.
Yeah, I think that also, if you do not list your home correctly in the first 14 days, then it does show something. You might be lost in the shuffle if it's not priced right. Or you can come out and be number one on the market, get all of these showings, and then a couple in your neighborhood may hit the market as well, well, and they're priced better than you. They maybe have one more bedroom than you do, one more bath, and they're priced lower. And so you're always competing. You may miss the market. You're also competing with new construction. So you've always got to be mindful and keep those things in mind when, your stubbornness could get in the way when,
we have some stubborn clients every now and then.
Yes, when you want a certain number, it has to be a certain number, but I think that a lot of sellers need to have an open mind about doing their homework as well and doing a little comparison shopping. And that's also why it's important to have a good realtor that will give you a good CMA. And so, Ron, if you want to talk a little bit about what that is and how it can help them.
Where a CMA is just our competitive market analysis, and what that is really is more a real-time look at the market in today's snapshot. It's not a tax record, it's not an assessment. The challenge with a lot of the internet sites, the Zillows, the Realtor.coms, things like that, they're not real value by any means, and they're not reflecting the market. The difference with our firm and what we do is we're in the business every day. I mentioned to you on this last show that we're actively engaged, not only in just your backyard, but the whole East Tennessee, a good 45-minute to an hour range. I think it's so important that your agent has a handle on the market, not only in Hardin Valley, right, but in North Knoxville as well. And those markets are going to determine different values. They're going to determine different prices. Each market, which is great in its own, has a different value and different demands, and there's a certain target buyer for that. So if you're not understanding your supply and demand, if you're not knowing what the absorption rate is at the present time, and if you're not knowing what your active pendings are, I always say that our active pendings are a gauge of the market now. None of the sites, Zillow, Realtor.com, are really gauging your pendings. They're kind of non-existent, right? And really a reflection of what the market is today is what somebody's willing to pay today. Appraisers are always having a challenge. I tell my customers, they said they had an appraisal, a year ago. Well, it's useless at this point because the market is constantly changing. It's so important to understand where you're at, what's going on, and the value of that. And then there's some things that really separate your property that, by us coming out to looking at the property, having our years of experience, we can tell you that are you able to get a premium dollar, and some things that you're just not going to get maybe with some other agents or some internet sites that may come in. Supply and demand, real estate's always going to come down to the most important things, three things: location, 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 right? But still there is a pricing, unless until you get into luxury homes. Luxury is a totally different market. Luxury is not about pricing, right? The guys with money, they have money, and they're willing to overpay. They overpay all the time, right? They pay for exclusivity. They pay for location, prestige, and so it's a different market with luxury because there's not comps. The biggest selling is your product, is that unique property, that estate. There's not going to be a comparable in the MLS that's sold in 12 months or 6 months. So that's a different type of buyer where you have to have a different type of marketing. So it's never about numbers. So things can vary, and that's so important why you have the right agent to work with you that has the expertise and the knowledge that really understands kind of the whole market versus just kind of a snapshot. And
I think you mentioned something earlier. The seller, they also will, and we're going to talk about myths here in a little bit, but a lot of the sellers will say, well, I bought my home 10 years ago at this price, and now I think that it should be worth $20,000, however much more. And I think that they need to understand what the market is bearing today, like you've talked about, and I think that they just need to not look at. Let's go ahead and talk about Zillow. They don't need to be looking at Zillow to get their estimate, because it's not correct. It's incorrect.
I've seen on one of our customers over $150,000 difference on Zestimate. If you're looking on Zillow, you're looking in the wrong place. You definitely need to call our office for that. They don't even have the right data. I think you mentioned earlier about some of the appraisers having issues with Zillow's data.
Yes.
And one of our customers had an issue with that.
Yes, we did have a customer, and he said that when they had bought their home, it was a certain amount that they bought it for. And then on Zillow, it said that the tax record showed that they bought it for a certain number, and that was incorrect. So even reaching out to them and saying, hey, that's wrong, that's, the incorrect price, they still won't do anything about it. So you've really got to do your homework, and you've really got to look at pricing and talk to your realtor before you start getting your numbers off of Zillow or any other, random websites. So,
well, I think, Zillow is great for looking at data and looking at items, but at the same time, not for value. So very, very important. Hey, we got some great topics here we're talking about. Really enjoyed you staying with us today. On the other side of the break, we're going to finish up about Zillow, and we're going to talk about some more myths that when selling in this market, how important it is, and we'll kind of debunk those myths. So stay with us and stay tuned.
In the competitive real estate market, Ryan Coleman has a track record with guaranteed results.
Ryan made the sale of our home seamless. He was there every step of the way.
And our home sold the first week for full price.
With his knowledge and expertise, he took away all our worries.
And he got us much more money than we had ever expected.
Ryan is so confident that he will sell your home, he's willing to put his own money on the line. If he can't sell it in the time frame agreed upon up front, he'll buy it himself. Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty, your home sold guaranteed.
Welcome back. Let's get back into that topic. It seems like we have an exciting thing about Zillow that's popular in the news today. Zillow, Realtor.com. Some of these online sites are what we were talking about. And that's a good topic, April. A lot of customers are leaning on that. Where do you go for resources? Where do you go for value? I always say it's a cycle. Call our office. It's no big deal. We're in the business now, and we'll be in the business in the future. It's nothing to pop by your house for 15, 20 minutes. Right. Put our eyes on the property, run some real numbers in today's market, and give you an idea.
And it's no obligation. It's free. We'll come out there and do it for you.
That's what we do. We're here to help you on your real estate needs. We're here to help you regarding the sale or purchase. We know it's a big move, one of the largest investments you're going to make, and so we want to be there for you. So let's talk about some of the myths. Some of our sellers, and I know that anybody that's sold a property or agents out there, they've had their clients say, well, I can always wait for that specific buyer. I only need one buyer, and we can wait for that buyer. Well, that could be a misconception, and the fact it's probably we've heard it too often. And the statement is really vast, is understanding that most of the activity is going to come within the first couple of months, and that one specific buyer is like a needle in a haystack. Right. And so it's so important that we're not looking for one buyer, we're looking for multiple offers. We want the masses. I always say we want to have like an auction-like effect with the top dollar price, not the discount price. We want to, when we open the doors in our marketing, we want to bring as many people through the front door as possible. So that's another misconception about is, then you get into the problem where you're looking for that one buyer, and sellers think that it's not, the issue is that buyers are not talking about how long that home has been on the market, right? Oh yeah, that's another one. How long has your home been on the market? It's the first question that the agent asks buyers that call on our signs or our advertising. And then it gets into a position where, why does the home not sell? And the buyer thinks, well, is there something wrong? Yeah, there must be something wrong with it. Did something fail the home inspection? So very, very critical that understanding that waiting longer does not mean that there's going to be more money. It's actually the opposite. And so very important that we come out with a good impression, right pricing, right marketing, and understanding that that's not true for that right buyer. Right. The longer your home stays on the market, the worse the offers will be, or you may not get any at all. That's the challenge, is when you're constantly chasing the market. If you're not with the right pricing and the right advice from your agent, then you're constantly chasing the market down. I always tell our customers we want to be out in front of the market. So before we know it, it's going to be the first part of the year. And there's going to be limited inventory as we are anyway. And before the spring market hits, don't you want to be out in front of that competition versus chasing what the neighbors sold for, or they jockey in position another $5,000 less. Again, we go back to the pricing, we go back to amenities and selling what we have. But that's so important regarding pricing, regarding that getting in front of that market is key. But understanding that, just because you put the home in a position where, let's say some of my clients, we talk in general about getting an offer. Sometimes if you get an offer within the first week, they go, well, we got an offer the first week, we should hold out.
Right.
And that's definitely not what you want to do. Understanding that a good understanding of the market, buyers have been looking for a while. Buyers have been looking, save searches for a while. They're looking for that specific home in that specific area that meets their criteria.
Right. And I think a lot of the sellers will say, maybe we can hold off for a better offer.
And you can do that, but I strongly encourage you, and I think statistics are always going to show you that it's so important to work the first offer, because a lot of people will tell you that the first offer could always be your best and could only be your only offer. You could be consistently chasing to get another offer as the market changes. And so important that never discount your first offer. You always want to be in a position where you can turn the buyer down, a position of strength. But at the same time, let's work a deal really hard. Let's go to negotiate. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's bring the buyer and the seller together, and let's work really, really hard. And I think that starts with preparation of pricing in the beginning and marketing. So it's always easier to work with two buyers than one, is what I say.
Right. And the other one is pricing your home and so that you have some negotiating room. That's the other one.
That's big, and I think you have to be realistic. We talk about buyer's mentality, and everybody's mentality, right, is we want a little bit of a deal. There's a little bit of a satisfaction regarding that, and I want to get a little wiggle room. Even when you're in a good market, right, you want to feel that satisfaction that, I didn't pay sticker, I got a little bit of wiggle room. But it's also important to understand regarding the market and regarding sticker price is sometimes homes are priced to sell consistently. I mean, they're at fair market or below. So that's where it's important on the buying side, if you're helping your buyers, that you're doing a real CMA of real time, knowing what's on the market, how quick things are going, and letting your client know if it's a good deal or not a good deal. And sometimes sticker in its list for a distressed reason, or it's priced competitively. You got a great agent on the other side. They understand the market, and it's priced right. So sometimes full price is okay. But understand wiggle room is good, but too much wiggle room may overprice the market. So
it turns
a little
buyers off.
Yeah, a little bit of cushion is good, but not too much.
Right. Reach that middle ground.
The middle ground is always that important. And, buyers are always going to sense that. We get into the discussion with our clients regarding closing cost and leaving appliances and things like that. And those things come up. It's part of the negotiating tool. I always tell our customers, it's all a total package. Let's not focus on, specific items, closing costs or appliances or things like that. Let's focus, what is our net bottom line? What are we taking to our next house? What are we receiving a check for? Very, very important. And I think that if you can focus on what's important, then leaving all the other stuff and the things that are factored into the offer. Remember, comparison shopping, buyers are adding these things into the deal for a reason. What they're saying to you is maybe that price is not right, but they're willing to take it with, additional concessions, closing cost, or the refrigerator, things like that. So very important. Some of your other thoughts regarding that pricing is when you list a property for sale, we talk about always having it in your best presentation, having it in showroom shape, having it marketed properly. Those things are still paramount. You can have a great priced home, but if it doesn't show well, it's not easy to see, then it's not pricing right. Then it may be in accessibility, right? Sometimes we have, owners where they have a tenant in the property, or there's not reasonable notice. We talked about the holidays, and sometimes the daylight hours are changing, and so there's not as much notice as possible. So we got to keep mindful of that and understanding that if we're priced right and marketed right, we can't miss the other part of accessibility.
Right.
And so all those things come into factor in regarding that. And I think, pricing is not a science. It's not rocket science, but it does take a certain agent that's in the market every day and understanding that. So we're always here available for you if you understand what's going on in the market. Are we changing to a buyer's market? We're going to a seller's market. We have a lot of competition in the market now, and believe it or not, with new construction. So some things that maybe back in 08 to 2012, where foreclosures was our biggest, was one of our biggest competition. How did they sell their properties, right? We go into, with that, it's always pricing. How can you know it's pricing? Because you looked at banks, one of the highest motivated clients that we have, and they're going to price it at below market.
Right.
So they were always moving off the market and affecting sales in your community. So now we have a little bit things regarding new construction, and now they're more competition. Everybody likes a brand new house versus a resale, right?
Right.
And so pricing is very key in that, and understanding that buyers are going to have that same mentality. We want to get as much as a resale, but understanding new construction may not be the same representation of your property, but it has to be a factor that we come into play.
And that's where the other things come into play, where you want to make sure you just do the little things around your house, like shampooing your carpet to make it look fresh, and knocking out put those neutral colors in, and not making those paint colors so crazy. Just those few things that keep you in the market with all of those new construction homes to spruce up your home a little bit.
We always say the devil's in the details. It's in our business, it's in your showing, it's in the feedback, it's making that extra call. It's all the little things that add up. Wow, this show has really flown by. I really enjoy us being with us today. Go over a couple little things. Congratulations, a couple of our clients that went under contract.
Yes.
The Zackersons, congratulations. Cindy and Todd going under contract. Danny and Amy, congratulations. And then a couple of our new listings in Maryville and Wildwood, Chattooga, and River Oaks. Listen, you can catch us every Saturday, 5 to 5:30 right here. And you can also catch us on or visit us directly at our website, ryancoleman.org. Call our office directly, 693-SOLD, 693-SOLD.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, private message us.
All the social media sites will be there. Until next time, have a great day.